When Ike finished the meal, in less than 3 minutes, he was snoring. Ola leaped in excitement, locked the door, undressed him, and had her way through. When Ike woke up, he was shattered, devastated, and felt so cheap to have fallen for the plot. He warned Ola to stay very far away from his wife and place of business. Ola, feeling so fulfilled, laughed and said, "You feel so stronger that day anyways." Ike hastily dressed up, kicked his motorcycle, got to his buka, and drove Ugochi home. Ugochi came back on the second day and noticed cold treatment from her husband. She asked humbly, "What changed? What have I done? You have been a supportive husband and have always gone out of your way to see us comfortable. If you no longer buy the idea of this provision business, then I will forfeit it." Ike said, "Ugo, my wife, my ever hardworking and decent wife, you have done no wrong, but I have done everything wrong." Ugochi looked around the house, saw everywhere in one piece, and became confused, and said, "No, my husband, you have done no wrong. Taking care of Adanaya, the business and house for 2 days all alone is no wrong, and I'm very grateful and blessed with a supportive man as you are." "No," Ike said in tears and started shuttling words. Ugochi then said, "We have handled terrible things in the past, and for these I promise to handle with you. Please let it out." Ike narrated all that transpired, and Ugochi was broken. She said, "This would have been avoided if you went with Uchechi, her daughter, knowing she stays alone, and if you also stood on the ground of not eating. The buka and bar business are doing so well. But no, Ugochi, you wanted more, and now you have defied your home as a sacrifice for provision business." Not even with someone I don't know, but with a close friend. Now I understand the meaning of the devil you know is better than the angel you don't know. She continued, and at this time, voices woke Adanaya, who was fast asleep. She came out to ask what the noise was all about, and they quickly managed the scene. The next day, Ugochi told her husband, "I forgive you, as it is not entirely your fault. A desperate woman will go all way out to see her mission accomplished. Please forgive yourself too, as it is paramount to getting our lovely home back." Ike thanked his wife, and she said, "I think your punishment will be abacha for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 2 weeks." 2 weeks, Ike asked. "I was just kidding," Ugochi responded. "I've forgiven you." They held their hands, said some lovely and positive words to themselves, and headed to set up the provision store. 2 months passed, and Olaedo was spitting everywhere. She suspected pregnancy and got it affirmed. She headed straight to Ike's shop, and the healing wound got reopened again. Olaedo said, "I am pregnant for you, and I wouldn't want to stay far from you because I can't comfortably take care of the pregnancy alone." Ugochi joined the scene and said, "Olaedo, it's been months, my friend. How are you doing? I even told my husband just yesterday that I will make out time to come see you. What happened? I didn't see you 2 days before I traveled, and it's been 2 months I returned, and I haven't set my eyes on you, either in the buka or anywhere around, and this is so unlike you. And you didn't even care to congratulate me on our new business." Olaedo said, "All is not well, oh. When you traveled, your husband, who can't be faithful for a second, forced his way into me, and I am now pregnant. I have come to tell him, since he wasn't ashamed to sleep with me, he shouldn't be ashamed to allow me into your home. and then pick up his responsibility. Ugochi laughed out loud, and Ola was so disappointed because she wanted her to break down and then pick a fight with her husband. Surprised? Ugochi asked. So it is not bad enough that you lured my husband to your house and sedated him and took advantage of his vulnerability. You dare to encroach my space. If this is not cruelty and desperation, then I actually lack words for it. You better wake up from your dreams because you don't have a room in our house. Olaedo gave them the biggest shock by saying, Okay, I will be going to pack my things now. And if I'm not giving a space in your house, then be ready for your buka, bar, and provision stores to be burnt down because I will personally pay the touts to do so. And you know, Ohofia has no king and the elders are lovers of money than lovers of truth. Ike and Ugochi became helpless and they lived in misery. 9 months passed, she put to birth a baby boy, which was named Uzo. Olaedo lived in absolute dependence on Ike and Ugochi, and soon it started affecting their businesses. The women of Ohofia were totally tired at the happenings in the village because they feel if they continue in silence, that soon the moral decay will go deeper and will become a virus that will affect every family in the village. They met with some elders that are not in support of what the money-driven ones were doing, and they discussed about their plan of going to Okiti, 4 towns away from Ohofia. The elders were so excited and prayed that the solution they all seek becomes a reality. The women sponsored 3 representatives who set out for the journey the next day. On getting there, they shared their ordeals to the seer and pleaded that he helps them out of evil eating deep in their village as it has become a nightmare. The seer said to them, "Your king is among you, living his daily life and conquering many life challenges." Who? They all asked together. The seer laughed and said, "Not so easy. There will be a sign visible for all to see. In 6 months, an offer will appear before the house, and if the man can lift it up without struggles, then the elders of Ohofia should crown him. For in him lies the wisdom to restore peace and harmony in Ohofia." They thanked him and left. When they got to the village, they related all that the seer had said to the elders and the other women. Though 6 months seems to be so long, but they were happy to have found a solution at last. Days and weeks passed, and 6 months was here, and the people of Ohofia woke up with so much hope and joy. But their joy was soon dashed as nothing seemed to happen, and everyone went about their daily activities. There were so many gossips and side talks about the women who brought the message home, and the said women couldn't go out to avoid being bullied. Ike and Ugochi were in their provision shop around 4 p.m. when they heard great noise, and they wanted to be sure it was still safe staying in the shop. People were running towards their direction, and they joined too because a lot has been happening in the village. They said, "Let us secure our heads first before we ask why everybody was running." Something dramatic happened immediately. The crowd all knelt down and hailed, "Igwe!" Ike was shocked and said, "How? A poor palm wine tapper lifted to a business tycoon and now a king?" "The offer is still in front of your house," a voice echoed from the crowd. "Let's go and see it," he said. Obumneme, the leader of the tout, have heard of the news and said, "Never! I am the king here because I am street made." He headed straight to Ike's compound. When he got there, he saw the crowd approaching. He waited for them to assemble before lifting the offer. Ike said, "I don't want you to harm anybody. You can please take the offer, but let the people of Ohofia live." Obun Neme said, "You sound so smart, and I must confess you are wise to have taken that decision almost immediately." The villagers were not happy because they all knew they will be in great trouble if he eventually becomes the king. Obumneme lifted the offer, but a strange fire burned from his head to his feet, leaving the offer unscratched. The people were astonished and at the same time happy that Ohofia is partially liberated. Ike picked the offer and nothing happened to him. There was a great shout of joy. Ugochi was happy. At least she will not be addressed as Lolo. Olaedo, on her part, was very, very happy and said, "I must make sure that Ugochi doesn't bear a male child so that my Uzo can become the king someday." The elders fixed the next half day for the coronation at the village square. Ike and his family made fine dresses for the occasion. Olaedo wasn't left out with her children. The day came, and the people of Ohofia provided a car to carry Ike to the venue. Different dance groups were all present in the village square, and they performed. Ike and Ugochi were called to be coronated, the Igwe and Lolo, and Olaedo followed and said, "I am his wife as well, because this is his son, the heir apparent to the throne." Ugochi was startled, but didn't want to ruin her day. So she spoke to the elders. Let her wish be granted. The first part of the coronation was done, and Ike's head didn't refuse the crown. The people of Ohofia leaped in great joy, and someone shouted from the crowd, "Che, che, 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 che." And the crowd responded, "Yeah, che, 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 yeah." And everybody shouted, "Igwe." The second part of the coronation was to crown the prince, since Ike already had one. The elder brought out his beads for both his neck and hands, but approaching the head of the baby, his hand hung, but was free to take it back to the ancient royal boss he brought it from. This repeated over and over again, and the elder said, "Uzo is not from the loins of Ike." That is the only meaning to what is happening now. They asked Olaedo to confess, or else she will be stripped naked immediately. She admitted in fear that Uzo was not Ike's child, but for Obumneme, that he had been in a secret relationship with him while still in a former marriage. "Ayo!" someone shouted from the crowd, meaning abomination. "Tufiakwa," another added, which means God forbid. She then continued that it was Obumneme that killed her husband when he complained of her incessant night outs. Uchechi cried out so loud, and she was consoled by Ugochi and Adanaya. The party ended, and soon the village square was empty. Olaedo got home and thought of the public humiliation, downgrade, and object of ridicule she was reduced to, and how she will forever remain a public nuisance in the sight of Uchechi, her daughter. She poisoned herself, and baby Uzo, who doesn't understand what her mother drank, took the small cup and finished the remnants. When Uchechi entered the scene, they were both dead. She screamed, and Ike, Ugochi, and Adanaya rushed out. Beholding the ungodly sight, Ike, who has been offered bodyguards, ordered them to go bury them in the evil forest. Soon, He expanded his businesses and moved to the palace. He called the first meeting and then appreciated the women who initiated the movement that liberated Ohofia. He said, "You will no longer pay for the space in the market square. Every woman in Ohofia is licensed to a space in the market to trade." They were so happy and echoed, "Long live the king." Then he turned to the touts and said, "As you all know, I have expounded my businesses. You will now be shared into two parts. One part will be allocated to my businesses to earn a living, and then the rest will be in the vigilante, which I will initiate today to handle the security of Ohofia." He said, "From henceforth, no more even gangs, as there is no advantage at all in it. And anyone who will raise any other gang, apart from these ones that I'm initiating, will be severely punished." They were all grateful and excited, as they were all tired of the kind of life they were living. Then he turned to the elders and said, "We all know your words, how you love money at the detriment of the people of Ohofia. You will not work with me because I wouldn't want to work with corrupt minds." The people of Ohofia were so happy and they lived in peace and experienced lots of progress.